Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to NBC News Channel's 13. Now, on this historic election night, this is a big deal. We've been traveling all over the state today for you, tracking some of the big local races. Of course, as always, we're keeping an eye on things nationally to see how it's all shaping up out there. Currently, if I can pull up our latest numbers, we are looking at, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump in a very close, tight race. Check in with us again at 11 o'clock for the latest numbers on that. But the reason you turned into us here right now is because you're looking for the local stats. Am I right? So let's get right into it for you. One of the biggest races we're following here locally in the upstate New York area is the race for New York's 19th Congressional District seat. Who are contenders that we're talking about? Democrat Josh Riley and incumbent Republican currently holding the seat, Josh Molinaro. So these two guys are going at it. This isn't the first time that these guys have gone head-to-head over this seat. Just 2 years ago, Josh Riley lost to Mark Molinaro, but it was a very close, razor-thin margin. Molinaro beat Riley by less than 2 percentage points. We are getting a look at the very latest information for you. And according to the Associated Press right now, Democrat Josh Riley is leading Republican incumbent Mark Molinaro 60% to about 40%. The number of votes we're looking at right here are approximately 130,000 to about 85,000 votes. That 130,000 vote margin in favor of Josh Riley. Now, just to be clear here, we're not calling any of these races just yet for the 19th congressional seat. There's a few others we're going to call here, but the 19th congressional district seat still too close to call. We got a lot of votes coming in. New York State, by the way, has gone for Kamala Harris. No surprise right there. But we got a lot of other seats, including Elise Stefanik, Representative Elise Stefanik's seat. That is still too close to call, but we are keeping a very close watch on that as well. Another one of the tight races we're looking at right here, the race for Albany County District Attorney between Democrat Lee Kindlin, Republican challenger Ralph Ambrosio, and incumbent David Soares. Now, this is interesting. Soares here, this made a lot of controversy recently because David Soares lost his primary race to Democrat Lee Kindlin. David Soares, though, he wanted to stay on the ballot as a write-in candidate. It was an uphill battle all the way going through. And Soares, though, he's a household name for many in Albany County because Soares has actually been the district attorney for the last 20 years. Now, we are going to call this race right now. According to the Associated Press, Democrat Lee Kindlin right here, the guy you see on the far left, Lee Kindlin has won the Albany County District Attorney's seat. His biggest competition, again, was originally in the primary against David Soares, but Kindlin is now being estimated to be the next Albany County District Attorney. So congrats to him tonight. The current margin right there, we're trying to get the exact figures. A lot of votes still have to come in, but Lee Kindlin is going to be the next district attorney for Albany. Another big thing we've been following, Proposition 1. Now, this just doesn't affect us here in upstate New York, but the entire state of New York. Proposition 1 updates our current Equal Rights Amendment in New York. Now, what exactly does that entail, right? Currently, New York State's Equal Rights Amendment prohibits discrimination of any kind based on race, color, religion. If passed, Prop 1 will expand those protected classes to add ethnicity, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, pregnancy, and pregnancy outcomes. This is supposed to add the right to an abortion to the state constitution. You see the pregnancy outcomes part right there in the text of Proposition 1. So this would potentially enshrine abortion into the state constitution if passed. However, on the flip side, there were some people who were against Proposition 1 concerned that with that language on not discriminating against sexual orientation, it would allow biological boys who identify as transgender girls to play against girls in their high school and middle school sports. Currently in the state of New York, it is already legal, as it turns out, for transgender girls to play girls' sports in New York. However, Prop 1 would make it harder to overturn that current precedent. As right now, the odds of Prop 1 becoming law, about a couple minutes ago, we just got confirmation from the Associated Press that Proposition will pass. Proposition 1 will pass and go into law here in the state of New York. When it came down to it, it really wasn't even close. Latest figures had Proposition 1 leading by over 1 million votes, with a lot of votes still to come in. But the percentage was 72% yes for Proposition 1 compared to 28% no against Proposition 1. So it looks like the Equal Rights Amendment is going to be updated and enshrined into our state's constitution, adding more protected classes. We just wrapped up our 9 p.m. hour-long show on our My4 channel. We had some great panelists giving us their educated guesses and thoughts on everything from the state of New York to the national presidential races with former President Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, which is still very tight and too close to call. We are going to be back here. I'll be back in about 20 minutes or so at 10:40 p.m. We're going to try to get you updated figures on the District 19 congressional seat race, and maybe a couple of the other local ones. Because, again, we still have Josh Riley, the Democrat, and Republican Mark Molinaro going at it. Riley, the Democrat, has the lead, so we could be looking at Republicans losing a House congressional seat here in the state of New York. That's a pretty big deal, because if you do follow politics, you know that currently the Republicans control the House of Representatives, but only by the slimmest of margins. Less than a handful of seats is what they have. I believe it's 205 to about 200, give or take. So very, very close numbers right there that we are watching right now. So again, I'll be back in 20 minutes. And if you miss me in 20 minutes, we're going to be back on NBC News Channel 13 at 11 o'clock with full coverage of everything and a full breakdown of all of our local races with the best minds and political experts that we could muster up here in the capital region. So I hope you join us then. We got a lot more to come. We'll see you soon.